It is estimated that the city of Portland will grow by about 123,000 households by 2035. To accommodate this growth, Mayor Wheeler is pushing hard to pass the Residential Infill Project, RIP, and now has Commissioners Hardesty and Udally on his side. Commissioner Fritz has been a strong opponent to RIP, stating, "This is the most appalling idea that's been brought to City Council since I've been here. RIP would allow triplexes, quadplexes, and possibly 6 units on residential lots that are currently zoned for a single-family house." In 2016, after 8 years of work, Portland leadership adopted the 2035 Comprehensive Plan and implemented it in May 2018. This plan allowed for denser housing like duplexes, triplexes, and quadplexes, to be built in areas of the city that have the proper infrastructure, such as public transit and adequate sewage lines. This long-term plan was to deter development from single-family neighborhoods of Portland's outer neighborhoods and instead direct future growth to dense urban centers and corridors. This current zoning allows for high density in these centers and corridors, anywhere from duplexes to apartment buildings. In other parts of the city, current zoning allows for ADUs on every residential lot and duplexes on corner lots. The zoning we have now, under the comprehensive plan, has the capacity to add 267,000 new residential units, more than double what we expect to need in their 2035. But Portland leadership still wants to urgently pass RIP to solve our housing crisis. Why? They say that we are in a housing emergency and need more housing. In 2018, the U.S. Census estimated that there were 16,000 empty units in Portland. They say RIP will create middle housing, something in between an apartment and a house, because Portlanders want these choices. They say that by flooding the market with more options, housing in Portland will become more affordable.
I just wanted to remind people that RIP in and of itself will not create affordable housing. Right? I want to be very clear about that, because people keep saying, yes, pass RIP and that way we'll protect affordable housing. What RIP will do is give another housing option at the mid-level, right? Which we hope means that the housing that currently exists that's naturally affordable because it's older housing will be maintained and upgraded, and so that people have housing choices. I just don't want anybody to leave this building thinking when we pass RIP, we have fixed our housing affordability issue.
They say that by creating these more diverse housing options that are common in almost every other U.S. city, we create community and inclusivity. But how does it do that when it will be displacing our neighbors? RIP's displacement study states that low-income renters in single-family homes are the most likely to be displaced because their house will get demolished and redeveloped into an unaffordable unit. That is 14,000 households. They say that those of us who oppose RIP are afraid of change, but we say that we don't want our city sold to developers. Not surprisingly, the areas that would see the highest risk for displacement also hold the highest number of renters and owners of color. There is a global trend for private equity giants specializing in residential real estate to buy up land with the expectation that its value will increase in the short term. RIP will allow more units on land than previously allowed. This is called upzoning. Research shows upzoning increases property value. This makes it very appealing for a developer to buy and demolish a small, affordable house under $500,000 and replace it with 4 units, individually smaller than the original house, but collectively larger, and each selling for at least $500,000. RIP was originally established back in a committee of community members in 2015 as a solution to the demolition of small affordable houses, but according to some of its members, it quickly became overwhelmingly weighted with builders, their lobbyists, developers, and industry partners, and failed to address demolitions and housing costs, and created a zoning code that is misaligned with policies and goals in the 2035 Comprehensive Plan. They stated it would result in displacement in the most vulnerable neighborhoods and remove our most affordable housing stock. Lastly, they wrote that with RIP, expect much more demolition, more real estate investments, reduced affordability, and increased auto dependency from diffuse density. After its creation, RIP went to the Planning and Sustainability Committee. It narrowly passed with a 5-4 vote, with dissenting members raising concerns about the increased potential for displacement of low-income residents and people of color.
We are considered one of the whitest cities in Portland, and I think WIP really becomes, as I said before, institutional racism to create the whitest city in Portland. And you know, the 5 years that I proposed was just an opportunity to give us a break, to say how do we really respond as a city, and recognize the value of people in this economic class. It's not only minorities, but it's low income, it's working people, you know, that are going to serve your coffee tomorrow and your dinner tonight, that you can now say, these are, Portland's not for you. And unfortunately, Portland's the wealthiest city, so where they go, there's less services, there's less things, and those cities are faced with greater challenges that they have to go to. And that's the disappointment, that we are not willing to step up to that challenge.
RIP is not an infill plan. In a city where we allow demolitions of sound, habitable, and affordable houses, RIP is a demolish and redevelop plan that will continue Portland's history of gentrification and displacement. Your voice and involvement is crucial. Click the link in the description box below, or visit www.stopripPDX.org for how to stop RIP, and help preserve our beautiful community of Portland.